Well, my friends, I'm back. This is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And I'm back with a fabric haul. As I got ready to work on my next tutorial, my top or sweater, it's going to be a crochet one. I was so excited about that last piece of fabric that I found at Joann's, when I was shopping with my friend Paula. Well, I came back. I bought that one piece that day. I don't know how, believe it or not, just bought one piece. But when I brought that piece back to the house, I realized I have a lot of pieces of fabric that I've been collecting since the last time that I did a scarf. That's been, maybe a year ago? I don't know. Yeah, maybe a year ago. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to show them not only my fabric haul, but we're going to sit and sew and just have a good time making another scarf. A beautiful accent. This is a quick and easy, just a beautiful accent, a beautiful style, just to put with your knit and crochet. So, let me go through some of the fabrics that I have been collecting from Joann's. Now, to do my scarves, my scarves, they're just very simple. The first scarf, and I'll link to that video, back whenever like a year or so ago. Well, it was an infinity scarf where it was like a big tube. This one is going to be just a straight scarf, just like the one I said, just finished up on the last tutorial. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and just pick out a few of the light color, really summer, because I have a lot more pieces of fabric, and prepare them, get them ready, and then I'm going to walk you through the process again of how to make these simple scarves. Alright, first of all, let me show you my fabric haul from Joann's. Alright, first up is this beautiful powder blue. Now, I didn't go through the effort right now to find and match up like I did before the yarns. I will do that at a later time as we're going to use these yarns. But when I have a yarn, when you see it, it is perfect. It's like a powder blue, and if you look real close on this piece of fabric, there are some silver threads running through, some metallic threads that just makes it pop. Even if you can't see it that well on camera, it really is pretty. And like I said, I only get half a yard for a scarf. So, I already have the yarn. I know which yarn I'm going to use. In fact, that yarn, I had started a sweater some time ago, a few years back, and I didn't like it, so I've reclaimed that yarn, and now that I have found this color to go with it, it is really going to set it off. I can't wait till we do that sweater. It's a winter. It's a more of early winter sweater. So it'll be a little time, or late fall. All right, but here's one. So let me go through my fabric haul. All right, that's one. Now watch. Now sometimes, I'll just pick up insignificant color. It just looks plain and like, well, why in the world would you buy that? Well, you'll be surprised at what a little pop of color would do to a simple, something that I've knit or crocheted. For instance, on this, when I saw this is what I saw. Now, some of you might say, I like culottes. I still like culottes. You're going to go, culottes, Jay, what are culottes? Well, now, some of you are older like me, and you remember culottes. They're like a little pants, but they have a flared leg, so that it resembles a skirt. So, and I still have the same pattern from back in the day. I still make my culottes from. Now I've had to increase them a little bit on the sides. But they're very simple and plain. I think in the party that I did for Margaret, I had on culottes. I forgot to change clothes. I forgot to change my shoes, change clothes. I just was party hardy. But I had on my culottes. But look, something as simple as this. Here's a pretty background, kind of a soft white. Look, there's this beautiful green, and then there's this blue, and there's different shades of them. So in my mind, when I saw this, even though it's not like a standout fabric, I saw my white culottes with a pretty white crocheted one of my tops and my little white sandals. And then a pop of color around my neck. Now, you tell me you can't see it too. Hey, just really simple, very inexpensive, a half a yard, people. All right, now brace yourself. Woo! Look at these flowers. You know, I love flowers. I love large flower prints, and especially on scarves. Now take your time and just look at this color. All right, the main color is kind of a wine of the flowers, and then it fades out like it's been watercolored. So that's a beautiful color. All right, when I see the main colors. Of course, the background is like an off-white. Then these beautiful wine shades from dark to light. But if you look closely, the leaves also have beautiful light to dark teal in the leaves right here. And then look here, here's a really deep green. Now that looks like a color I saw. It's by Karen Simply Soft. I think it's called Paragon. I don't know, but it's a deep, deep green. But see, I just take my fabric back with me, and then I would find a yarn to match it up. In fact, I prefer to get the fabric first, and then it's easy to walk, especially in Joann's or Hobby Lobby, wherever you are, to just walk over to the yarn section, take your fabric over there, find some yarn that you might want to match up with it. Even the scent of the flower, it seems like it's not really black, but it's dark enough that you could, if push comes to shove, you could wear this with a little black. Now, you tell me that's not worth the little money you pay for just a half yard. Look at those colors. Oh my gosh, they are saying something. Look at me, look at me. So pretty. All right, the next one. Another very simple, like, Jay, I don't get, well, like you say again, white capri pants. Another pretty white sweater. Maybe a vest like I just made, that I just knitted, maybe in white. You know, or one of these colors. And a white shell underneath. And then you pop on this long scarf. Oh yeah, white sandals, pretty bag, and your white rimmed sunglasses. I'm selling this, aren't I? Look, I'm selling it. Isn't that pretty? Doesn't it just say summer? But it's a very simple fabric. You know, one that you might just overlook. But even that can just pop an outfit. All right. Now, brace yourself again. Look at this. Floral City. Jay loves the florals. Look at these. I'm going to move this back just so you can see it. I could not leave the store without getting a half a yard of this. Just beautiful. Now see, at my size, now I wouldn't probably wear this as a top. You know, it would have made someone a really pretty top. But just enough of these large florals to make a scarf for me that's all I need, is just a taste of it. So look, let's check these colors out. First of all, now this background is not white. It's more of a silky looking, soft, off-white, not cream, but just down a few steps. But now the flowers pop with a dark wine or magenta. Then it fades into light pink. And if you look right here, look, there's orange. You know, that was kind of hot last year, I think. You know, the pinks and the oranges and the magenta looking colors, because I have some of the yarn. I never did get around to making my sweater, but maybe I will. Look at that. There's orange. And if you look real hard, there is some black that it could, if you need to spice up a little black outfit. Man, that would spice that up with a pretty straw bag. Oh yeah. Isn't that pretty? Now, look. Another really color that will pop. There are several shades of green. There are several shades of green, from light to medium And right here, you'll see there's even a dark. So, look what you get for just a half a yard of fabric. All the outfits you can match this up to and be in style. Oops, my phone. Hold on. All right. Last but not least, in this selection of summer fabrics for my scarves, this is one that I used a few times before that I had in some of the pictures, and I kind of cheated. I had not sewn it together. I simply took a pin and pinned it in the back so that I could go ahead and use the fabric. But looking at it now, I want to show you a close-up view because this is the fabric that I need for my next tutorial. It's a crochet top, and look at all the beautiful colors that you can find in this one piece of fabric, just a half a yard. You have from pale yellows to light fern greens. There's pinks, there's reds, there's blues, there's purples or great colors. Look at this one. There's like fuchsia. There's even black on this bird. So I think it's such a good way to get a lot of wear, and you're not breaking the bank. Like I said, it's only half a yard, and most of the time the fabric is on sale. So it really, I may have paid $2 and something or $3 and something for this half yard of fabric. And then it's no time to sew it up because I'm going to take you step by step. Like I said, this won't be the infinity. We're just going to make long scarves. So now the next step is to prepare your fabric, which I will show you how simple I got everything together, and then walk you through the supplies. And then we're going to sit down and sew. Oh, and I have a great story to share with you, too. So, I can't think of anything else. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you, like I say, grab you half a yard here and there. And not only can we knit and crochet, but we can accessorize it and give it that pop of color. So quick and easy. Be back in just a minute. Alright, so the first thing I want to go over, well, first of all, the first scarf video I did, like I said, about last year, whenever, it was just kind of a spontaneous. I just, I was sitting there, we were talking about something, and then I just thought, I'll just do a video on the scarf. So I didn't really plan it out as much, but this time I'm trying to plan it out and do it so that so even a new sewer can do this simple scarf. Like I said, this is not going to be the infinity. This is just going to be a long strip type scarf that just hangs around your neck. Okay, first thing, like I said, you've got a half a yard of fabric. And what I would do is just collect them until you have, and put light colors together, like colors that you can use once you thread your machine and bobbins. I try to find a neutral color that I can just use on several scarves so that I don't have to change my thread and my bobbin. But to prepare the fabric, what I need for you to do is just take your piece of fabric, and I would assembly line them at my ironing board. And I'd take it and just simply turn on the wrong side, just open the fabric up on the wrong side, and I'd iron it. Just steam it nice and get some of the wrinkles out. That's all you're doing. Then, now I don't know, let's see, make sure I'm backed out enough. Okay, I could back out a little more just for this part. Okay, and so once you iron it, then I would go ahead and put these two salvage edges together because they're going to be straight because it's right off the boat. So you just put those together. And I would go ahead and just put it together right sides facing right side. So turn it so that after you iron it on the wrong side to get the wrinkles out, then you put the two right sides together, matching these straight salvage edges, the ends right there. You'll match those up. Just showing you how to assembly line and get, you'll be doing several at a time. And then, now, last time I just did my scissors, like I said, it was spontaneous. I just thought, oh, let me get my scissors and show you how I do it. Well, this time I got my little mat out, and I have my rotary cutter and my quilting ruler. So I can just do a straight line. That's all I'm trying to do. Okay, I've put the right sides together. And then I smooth it out. Now I'm just going to fold it, because you know and I know that once you get a piece of fabric cut at any store, any place, except quilt shops, they're pretty good. They usually get it pretty, right on the mark. But fabric stores are not quite like that. You come home with wavy edges, and sometimes you don't even get your full half yard. Or sometimes it goes over, and then you got pieces you have to trim off. So this is all I'm doing. That was the whole purpose. So that now I can take my rotary cutter. Now watch. I fold it in half. Now this is the wrong side is facing me. I fold it up again so that this edge goes up to the salvage edge, just like that. It don't have to be perfect, but it just needs to be neat. And then on my mat, hopefully you know how to use a rotary cutter and a gridded mat. I line up maybe the folded edge on one of the grid lines so that it means it's straight. And then we're not even measuring or anything. But you can see here the layers that it's not a straight edge on this side, and probably not on that side either. So I'm just going to line it up near a grid mark, near a line here. And all I'm going to do is take my rotary cutter and my ruler and just line it up so I can square it off so all this comes off. Like I said, I don't even measure my scarves. Just make sure you go all the way through. Now I know that edge is pretty straight or pretty clean. Now I need to rotate the fabric so I can do this edge. I find the grid mark again at the bottom where the fold is. I go beyond one of the lines on this side so that I can just square this side up. And I just put my ruler there. Let's see if I'm on. I need to do all that cutting, yep. And then I just take my rotary cutter and I want to straighten out this edge. And rotary cutter 101, be sure to close your blade as soon as you're done. Alright, so now I'm just going to go ahead and show you on this piece. So now I do have a nice, decent straight. And like I said, I'm not really concerned on how wide the scarf is. It becomes whatever it becomes. Now I can take the scarf and fold it long ways. And I still have the two right sides facing each other, but I'm going to fold it long ways because I have squared it off on one edge, and then I will do this. It's hard to get all this on the shot, but let me see what I can do. Let me get it all straight down here. Okay. It's a lot straighter than when I brought it home. Let's just say that. I can, so now you can take off this salvage edge, or you can wait and sew it and take it off. Either way. So since we have our grid, see that? Alright, like I say, may not be perfect, but it is a lot better than when I brought it home. So line it up, right sides together, take my ruler, and let's see, can we score this one and get it nice and straight. And then, of course, we'll do the other side. Now, before I even go to the other side, since I know this is straight, I'm going to go ahead and pin. And I use some, these are ball head pins. They have the little ball, but whatever pins you can get a hold of. And I'm going to go ahead and pin because, like I said, I don't really have to have a measurement or anything. I just need to be able to pin this, and then I'll show you how simple it is. And I use the pins. Now, if I was doing a garment, I do know that the pins go in this direction from the edge, going in this direction as you're going to sew over. But I'm using the pins as my guide when I get ready to make my seam. So I'm going in this direction. I'm going to come down about I'd say an inch. I'm going to come down about an inch from the edge. Now I can move that in a little bit. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to run my pins. I'm just going to run them long ways. And to keep from sticking yourself, you can stick the pin when you kind of push it in and up and down in by going down. Push the point down so you won't run your hand across that. And I'm going to slide it along because I've squared this piece of fabric up on my mat, which I didn't do before. Like I said, I was just having fun, but I thought, well, I could have done a little better. So I'm just taking that and I'm pinning about an inch down. And I end with the point of the pin going down or under the fabric and not sitting on top. Now I can just start to roll just like this. Just working from one end till I get to the other, because I have about an inch down and roll. See, there's my pin, and I just roll it up. All right. The camera's right here, right here by my arm. Let's see, can I put my pins up there out of the way? Smooth it out. Take the pins. Keep going. Just kind of check underneath there. Let's see what we got here. Should be a lot easier than the first time I did it when I didn't take the time. Like I said, I was just having fun. Just like this. And you will pin. I come about an inch down, so that's going to be my sewing. I'm going to sew above this pin. So that's why I'm taking the time to put them in this direction. Alright, let's roll on. I see the end coming up. Kind of check the fold, see if it's staying. See if it's about equal. And about an inch down. Another pin. Keep going. Fold. Check this end down here, and we'll even it up once we get to the end. Now, another pin, about an inch down. Fold. Now I'm down to the end. And even though we squared it up, see, it's a little off, but we'll even that up at the bottom, at the end. So an inch down. And if I had done this on my ironing board, it may have come out a lot better, because I could lay the whole thing out. I couldn't get everything on this little mat. Alright, so now I can turn, and if I see that I need to square up anything on this side, I just lay my piece here with the folded edge on one of the grid lines. Take your ruler and your rotary cutter and square up. I think that pin's in the way. Alright, let me take that one out. Okay, let's square it up now. it on the bottom on the line. Okie dokie. I think my blade's a little dull. I hadn't used it in a long time. Probably gotten dull from lack of use. Because I don't quilt anymore. What little quilting I did. I wasn't a big quilter or anything, but sometimes you needed to know the skill. Put my last pin in. And voila. So now I have this nice roll of fabric that I can take to my sewing machine, and we'll do that shortly. But it's all rolled up and ready to go with pins. So then I would move to maybe, let's move to this one. Okay, let's move to another one. All right, here we go again. Let me check my camera before, I don't want to run out of juice. Be right back. All right, so I'm back, and instead of going through squaring up this piece of fabric, I went ahead and just did it on the mat, and then I brought it over to my machine here. I'm in a different, I'm on my table today. So what I wanted to tell you though, before I start sewing, I wanted to show you or share with you how I came about this machine and tell you something about it. All right, this is a Morris sewing machine, and it's an Apollo 6500. Well, the first thing I thought about, you know, when I was going to share it, I went and I Googled the machine to see if anyone else or if it was still relevant, or look, am I the only one with this machine? Am I the only one that, you know anything about this machine? Well, believe it or not, it's there are a lot of people that still have this machine, and there were some that were selling them on I don't know if it's eBay or Etsy, but one of them, and it sells around, at least I found it under $200. So it's still a nice machine, and but I'm telling you, it is a workhorse. It is a machine not like anything that we have today. You know, the material. The Morris Apollo 6500 is a cast iron. Back in the day, this is cast iron. The whole thing. I cannot pick it up. I cannot pick it up. It is a, very, it has a lot of stitches. Now, we're talking in the 1970 or a little before when I first saw this machine. My grandmother, I called her Mama, and so one day Mama called me over and she said, "Oh, come over, I'm trying to make me a dress. I want to make me a little shift dress to go to church." So of course, my mama sewed. I went over to my grandmother, so I went over there because she knew I sewed. No one else in our family sews but me. All her children or my sister, none of us. I'm the only one that sews. So I went over and, back in the day, we made most of our clothes out of double knit. Knitting. Kind of fabrics and knit type fabrics. So she had laid out a dress. Remember back in the day we had the little A-line dresses or the shift dresses, and of course by her being going to wear it to church, she had to have sleeves. So and then she put it on with one of her big hats. So I went over to help her, and we laid the pattern out and cut it out. And but then when she showed me the machine, now back in the day, back in the 60s and, 70s, they used to have vacuum cleaner salespeople. Used to come around. They'd come around and they'd go door to door selling vacuum cleaners. And also sewing machines. Most of the people, just, regular people that had domestic work that didn't have big jobs, maybe took in washing or like I said, clean houses. I mean, they just couldn't go to Sears or J.C. Penney's and open up big accounts and things on that kind of little money they made, the salary they made. So somebody came up, companies came up with ways to get their product out, and they would come around and sell it door to door. Well, she bought this machine, and they give you a little contract, and then you pay your, you might put a little down payment. I don't know what she paid, but she might have put $20. She might have went in her little her little coin purse from money that she made from cleaning house, and she may have put down $20, and then you'd have a little contract, and every month he would come around and collect the $20 until you paid it all. I have no idea what she paid for it, and if I'm not even sure. I don't want to say anything wrong, but I think when as I'm getting ready to tell you, we traded machines. I think I paid the machine off for her because she couldn't use it, and but to go back to the machine, but it had the manual. It has a manual, and it came with these cams. Now I hope I'm on. I gotta check the camera on this. See, I'm on. Yeah, there it is. It came with these full collection of cams. See, it says Morris Apollo 6500. And if you look right here on the machine, there's a whole bunch of stitches, and they all have numbers. So if you wanted to do, say, stitch number 5, well, you'd find the cam that says stitch number 5. It has the little 5 on there. Does that make sense? I'll bring it closer. And then you'd lift up this little door, and it came with the basic cam where you just go back and forth, but you pull that out and put in cam whatever stitch you want. There's all kinds of stitches. There's 24 of them. Beautiful stitches. That was quite nice for back in the 70s, don't you think? But that was the thing. You had to put the little cam in. Well, that was a lot for her to even, all she wanted to do was make her little shift dress to go to church. So, boy, make a long story short, I had a nice singer. This machine was in a cabinet. I have the cabinet downstairs. My singer that I bought, I don't know where I got it from, what store, I can't remember now. But I bought myself a sewing machine. That was one of the first things I bought after we built this house. I did not have this studio at the time. I used to have to sew in I had a regular size little kitchen and then a dining room. So we knocked that wall out eventually, but I used to have to sew in my dining room on my singer, and it was in a nice cabinet. Well, we talked, and I told about my singer. So we decided, just me and her talking. I said, well, we'll swap, and you learn, get your sewing down, and then we can swap back. So I brought my machine over, and then I took hers home in the book and all the cams so I could learn. And then, but this way she could go ahead and learn how to sew. My singer was very basic. It was in a beautiful cabinet. It was a nice machine for its time, but all it did mainly was, just sew back and forth. And you could move the little thing and do a zigzag, and then a little zigzag buttonhole. But that's basically what it did. And that was something she could really kind of get into and make her dresses. So, but like times, like life happens, she just kept it, and I kept sewing, and we didn't think anything about it, because once I brought this machine home and started working on it. Do you remember dashikis? Well, I used to make on this machine, oh Lord, I'd make dashiki shirts, dashiki dresses, dashiki headpieces. For all my friends, like I said, I was real big back in the church then, I was doing a lot. We had a young women's group, and all of us young women sewed. Everybody sewed. That was a big thing on the weekend. What we going to make to wear Sunday? We'd pick up the fabric on Friday, stay up all night Friday and Saturday, and have a new outfit the next Sunday. And everybody would, like I said, sew. But eventually, like I said, life happens, and she got sick, and eventually she, passed away. And I forgot my sewing machine over there. I wasn't even thinking about it. But when my aunt was going through stuff and cleaning and trying to separate things and going through the house, she asked me if I'd come over and maybe help her go through things. Well, that's when I remembered my sewing machine, because she kept it in the bedroom and the cabinet. And I said, oh my gosh, you know what? I forgot my sewing machine. I forgot Mama told me to come and get my sewing machine. Okay, I kind of stretched a little bit. But you know how families are. You know how families can be. When you start hauling things out. And back then I had a Dodge Caravan. So some kind of way, while my aunt was in the kitchen, she was going through some of the dishes and under the cupboards and things. Man, I struggled by myself. I don't know how I got the machine and the cabinet and everything. I got it out the bedroom, down the hall, out the living room, out the back door, into my van. And so I wound up with my machine back. Plus, I was able, since nobody else sewed, I just kept this one because nobody else sewed, and I had the machine and the cabinet. But my singer, because she had got sick, and there was years that she didn't sew, it was completely locked up. But at least I had this one. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about it so that you would know the little background of my Mars Apollo 65 sewing machine and the cams I never did figure out. Because I just didn't sew that kind of sewing. I just mainly did craft shows, and you just needed a sewing machine. So now let's get to our scarf, and let me just show you how quick and easy it is to sew this scarf. Okay, as we get started though to sewing the scarf, I've already taken the pins out. I thought if I just took the pins out and just show you how easy it is to just go ahead and sew this little scarf up. But first, let me tell you this. When you're picking out your fabric, this is all this fabric is thin, and it's a woven type fabric. Go ahead and ask the salesperson if you do not have a smaller needle for your sewing machine. Most people use the regular size 11s and 14s. Go ahead and get you a pack, and this is a number 9. You're going to need a smaller needle for these woven or thin fabrics, and you'll be able to tell immediately if your needle is too large. But I would go ahead and get a number 9, size 9, so I'll have it once I got home and with my fabric. Alright, so now all I did, of course, simple sewing. I've put right size, everything's been pressed, and I've squared everything off. I've just taken the pins out just to make this quick. Now I've put right sides together. I'm simply going to do a fold over seam. I'm just going to take the edge of the fabric on this long side, and as I sew, I'm just going to fold the fabric in on itself just a little bit. About this, I don't know, about the width of my my foot here, my sewing foot. And then I'm going to start, lock it in place. And now I'm just going to go down, and as you can see, it just folds in on its own. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to struggle. I have the outside edge of the zip of the feed of the foot right here on the edge of the fold. And I'm just sewing this nice little simple seam. But it's going to, especially on this fabric like this fabric, let me hold it up. Can you see how it frays bad? Instead of going, now if you have a serge and all that, you can do all kind of things. This is just, I'm doing the simple version, people. This is the kind of thing I would make if I was in a hurry and I had to go somewhere, and maybe I needed just a little accent or a pop of color, and I had fabric. I could sit down and sew one of these in 30 minutes and be out the door. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just going to go ahead, sew it down, turn, just let it fold over as I go. Doesn't have to be a deep fold. Just like this. Alright, so now I'm going to go all the way to the end, and then I'll let you see how pretty the seam turned out. Oh, and can you hear how nice my machine is? Sews really nice. But that number 9 needle makes all the difference on this fabric. Alright, see you back in just a minute. Okay, I've just finished sewing the seam, and I've taken a little pair of scissors, and what you're going to do is trim that seam. Just go along the edge and just don't cut into your thread, of course, but you're just going to trim this seam, all this excess fabric, away from the seam. So I'm coming up to this end here. This is all on the inside, but still. So now what I have, if you can look at, see this, I have a nice beautiful seam that I've just simply fold over, and I can just trim, keep it nice and neat, just trim that seam so that now I won't have any problem with it coming loose or fraying. And this is a nice, it's going to be a nice scarf. Alright, so now once I do that, all I have to do, alright, take one end of the scarf. Now we're going to close up one end. I'm going to sew straight across, and then it's the opposite end. I will leave an opening so that I can turn the scarf inside out, because we have the scarf, you know, on the wrong side. So let me just sew up this end, lock it in, and sew across the one edge of the scarf. Oops, my little foot has gotten out of the way. Alright, just sew across. Okay, so now that's one end. Let me just cut my little threads here. See, I have a nice seam going up the long edge, and then now I've made one seam. I don't worry too much about this side because it's a short side. Now I turn to the opposite end of the scarf, and we're going to sew and stop and leave about a 2-inch opening so that we'll be able to pull the, reach in and pull the scarf through. So it'll look just like this. I'll start here on the edge. Hope I'm not in the camera. Okay, then I'm going to sew, stop and lock it. Now I'm going to leave, I'm going to lift up the needle. I'm not breaking the thread or anything, but I'm going to pull it so that I have about 2 inches. Put my foot down, lock it again, and sew to the end, just like that. Now I have, let me just cut my threads. Here's the little opening so that I can turn my scarf. Make sure you lock it on when you stop and when you start again, so that, and now watch. I always say this is, well, here comes the magic. Alright, so now you have a nice opening, and if you did leave a lot, you may have to take your seam ripper. I could have left a little more, but I'm just going to go ahead and reach. I'm going to start pushing through. I'm just pushing this wrong side of the fabric up through this opening that I've left on this one end, and it will take a minute or so, and it pulls out really, because the fabric is silky and slides really pretty. Now I think it would be hard if you had cotton or something else, but I'm just going to pull it through just like this. Oh look, I was able to reach in and just grab it. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Just reached in and pulled it through. Alright, so now you need to just punch out your corners. You can take a stylus or something, pull it out. I just take a pin. It can be a safety pin or a straight pin, or just something to pull out your corners. Just like this. See? And you'll turn it. See, I need to go back on this side. Pull this corner out. And then eventually you'll just sew in that little, there's a little opening. See, it's just about 2 inches. Just real small. You can just take, it won't take but a couple of stitches. Then go to this end. Of course. Oh, this is a nice long scarf, isn't it? Oh, look how long this one is. It just depends on the measurement of the fabric, whether it's 64 inches wide or 54 inches wide when you buy it off the boat. And then you take your pin and you go on this side and pull it out. Of course, you don't have to worry about it opening on this side because we just sew straight across. Now, how easy is that? I think Jay just saved you $29.95. From Target. I just saved you some. Well, I saved you some money so now that you can go shopping at Target. Look at this scarf. Is that pretty? Look at that. Nice and a beautiful scarf. So, now the only thing I have to do now is to show you what I'm going to wear with this, how I'm going to wear this scarf and what I've crocheted to wear with it. So, of course, I'm working on my crochet tutorial. Oh, I think you're going to like it and you're going to see how pretty this scarf looks. Well, what do you think? Let's see if I got my scarf on camera. I hope I do. What do you think of that? Well, I hope you give it a try. And like I said, I'll link the first one so you can see some of the other scarves. But it was an infinitive type scarf. We called them tube scarves back in the day. But this is just a plain straight scarf. So I think that's it. So now onward to the tutorial so you can see how it looks when we get all dressed up with our beautiful scarves we made, our beautiful crochet sweater or top. Just saying, Jay's Quick and Easy. Beautiful scarf. Well, I'll see you in just a few for the tutorial, so don't go far. So this is Jay. This is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. Happy sewing.